At level 1, think of a pudding-like consistency for all foods. Some residents may come with a recommendation of NDD1 puree thinned to applesauce consistency. This is typically due to reduced tongue strength, causing difficulty pushing a bolus back in the mouth, or due to residue left in the throat after the swallow, which increases the aspiration risk. Try to think of creative ways to thin a puree so that you maintain as much flavor as possible and add calories to the dish. Broth, milk, juice, and gravy are a few ideas to consider.
When it comes to grains, they should be cooked thoroughly. Things like cereals, such as cream of wheat, are okay to be served as is, or if you're going to use oatmeal, run it through a blender before cooking it. Bread products should be moist, gelled, and should be blended grain products. To do that, you can make, with things like that, you can make pancakes, waffles, pasta. When it comes to fruits, they should be pureed, so no lumps or bumps within the mixture, no skins, and you should avoid things like grapes, pineapple, or citrus fruit. On a pureed diet, pureed meats should be served with a thick gravy to aid in swallowing. You can provide scrambled eggs and pureed eggs. If you're serving a salad, like an egg salad or a chicken salad, avoid the onions and the celery as they tend to be raw in those recipes. When it comes to cheese sauce, they're fine as long as they're fluid consistency, thicker, easier to swallow, and use caution when using melted cheeses that get rubbery as they cool. For desserts, things like ice cream, pudding, jello, shakes, and smoothies are common on a pureed diet. Avoid nuts or seeds in any recipes for desserts, and bread products like cakes and cupcakes should be gelled, or otherwise they require extra preparation. If someone is on a thickened liquid diet, make sure to monitor if they're eating ice cream or jello, things that become liquid when they melt. When serving vegetables on a pureed diet, ensure that they are well cooked and non-pureed. You may need to use a stabilizer to avoid liquid separating from the solid, something such as flour. Other food ideas are pureed pasta with pureed meat sauce. Puree the pasta separately from the sauce to maintain a good flavor and consistency. When it comes to yogurt, make sure that there's no fruit in the yogurt. You don't want any lumps or bumps. Mashed potatoes or mashed sweet potatoes with gravy or butter, or pureed strained soups. Some tips for making pureed foods would be to blend one food item at a time to maintain the flavor and the color. Make sure to rinse the blender with hot water between each food item. With foods that tend to separate into liquids, like fruit, watery vegetables, soups, shakes, or smoothies, use a stabilizer such as breadcrumbs, protein powder, beverage thickeners, potato flakes, or even banana flakes to add stickiness or cohesiveness to the food. To keep foods moist and cohesive, things like meat use things such as olive oil, mayonnaise, tartar sauce, ketchup, mustard, sour cream, cream cheese, or melted butter. When pureeing foods, use a pulsing action on the blender, especially for things such as meats and fresh fruits without seeds or skin. Cook the vegetables extremely well before pureeing them. It makes it easier to puree them, and it also gets them to the cohesive texture. Puree noodles when they're hot so they don't become gummy. Make sure to puree your noodles separately from sauces to maintain a more normal appearance of the food, otherwise it can look sort of gluey or clumpy. Bread does not puree well and needs to be gelled or slurried. In following slides, there are directions on how to gel or slurry bread. If you find it difficult, substitute bread with potatoes or pureed pasta.
As you can see, the foods presented in the pictures are smooth puree with no liquid separating from the solid. However, one picture doesn't comply with NDD1 puree recommendations. Can you tell which one? Picture number 1 doesn't follow level 1 recommendations. The garnish would need to be finely minced and blended into the dish before being served to the patient.
On a mechanically altered diet, food should be soft and moist. There should be no liquid separation, and any lumps should be small and easy to squish with the tongue. The food should be able to be scooped and shaped into a ball. It should require minimal chewing and no biting. Any level 1 items should also be allowed, so any pureed foods would be allowed on a mechanically altered diet. On a mechanically altered diet, grains that can be served are things such as cooked cereals like cream of wheat or oatmeal. With pancakes or well-cooked noodles, ensure that you have minced them into quarter-inch pieces. Bread and bread products should be pureed. If you're going to serve cold or flake rice crispy cereal, you should add a half a cup of milk and let the cereal stand for at least 2 minutes until it has softened. Then drain the excess milk and serve. Fruits that can be served on a mechanically altered diet should be canned, soft fruits without the skin, seed, or seeds. They should be minced into quarter-inch pieces and drained of the excess juice. You can also serve ripe bananas minced into quarter-inch pieces. They should be fairly ripe, so yellow to slightly brown peel. On a mechanically altered diet, protein should be tender, well-cooked meats that have been minced into quarter-inch pieces served with thick gravy. Cottage cheese is okay, or baked beans mashed with the tines of the fork. Soft cooked scrambled eggs, or egg salad, chicken salad with no celery or onions, and it should be minced into quarter-inch pieces. Desserts that can be served should be smooth or pureed desserts, things like ice creams, puddings. Make sure to avoid nuts or seeds on any desserts, as they can be a choking hazard. Any bread products, like cakes or muffins, require extra preparation. If someone is on a thickened liquid diet, be aware of liquids that melt when they come to room temperature, such as ice cream or Jell-O.
Look closely at these pictures. What red flags do you notice? Which foods can be served as they're pictured? And how would you modify the foods so they conform to the guidelines for level 2? In picture 1, the meat needs to be minced into quarter-inch pieces, and it needs more sauce on it to make it more cohesive. Picture 2, the garnish cannot be there. The food also needs to be minced into quarter-inch pieces. Picture 3, again, quarter-inch pieces of very well-cooked noodles, and a sauce needs to be added for cohesiveness. And in picture 4, the garnish, the little green garnish on top, would need to be removed.
On a Dysphagia 3 diet, or soft food diet, food should be soft, tender, and moist throughout. The liquid should not separate from the solid. Chewing is required, and a knife should not be required to cut into the foods. When serving the food items, they should be in bite-sized pieces, about half-inch pieces. Food should be mashed or broken down with the pressure from a fork or spoon. Any level 1 or level 2 food items are also allowed, so any pureed or mechanically altered food items are allowed. On a soft food diet, hot cereals without any modification can be served. Cold cereals that have been soaked in a quarter cup of milk and drained before serving. Any pancakes that have been cut into half-inch pieces and soaked in syrup. Bread or bread products must be gelled before serving on a soft food diet, and well-cooked noodles cut into quarter-inch pieces. When it comes to fruits, you can serve soft fruits like canned or cooked fruits that don't have any seeds or skins. Make sure that they are soft and peeled fresh fruits if you are serving fresh fruit like ripe bananas, berries, or melons. On a soft food diet, vegetables should be well cooked and cut into half-inch pieces. They should be able to be cut with a fork. If you're serving corn or broccoli, they should be pureed. With proteins, you can serve tender meats in half-inch pieces with a gravy or sauce. Lunch meats cut into half-inch pieces, as long as they're not tough or stringy pieces. You can serve tuna egg or chicken salad with no celery or onion again because it creates a clump or a bump. All pieces should be smaller than 1/2 of an inch, so any of those meats or proteins such as the eggs should be small. If served as a sandwich, serve it open-faced on a gelled slice of bread and cut it into 1/2-inch pieces while feeding or serving. Most desserts can be served on a soft food diet as long as they do not contain nuts, seeds, or dried fruit. You can provide soft-baked cookies, and if you're going to serve things such as cakes or muffins, they should be gelled before serving.
There are just a few notes of awareness with these pictures. In picture 1, lunch meat should be cut up and remove any tough or stringy pieces. Picture 2, carrots and other vegetables need to be fork tender, meaning soft enough to cut with just a fork and no other utensil. In picture 3, make sure there are no nuts or seeds in a crumble topping, and verify a patient's liquid consistency before serving ice cream, which is allowed only if they're on thin liquids. In picture 4, bread and bread products must be gelled. Instructions are included in this PowerPoint.
On a modified diet, you can add protein and calories to foods in the following ways. By fortifying the milk. To do so, you would add 2 cups dried powdered milk to 1 quart of liquid milk. You can use this in milkshakes, fruit smoothies, hot cereals to increase the calorie and protein content. On other foods, you can add margarine, sugar, honey, jelly, sour cream, half and half, heavy cream, whole milk, mayonnaise, avocado, or even pureed baby food to increase the calorie content. Add strained baby fruits to juices, milkshakes, smoothies, or cooked cereals. In soups, sauces, and gravies, you can add 1 jar of strained baby meat. Mix the strained baby meat with cooked or pureed vegetables to increase the calorie content. Other methods to add protein and calories to a modified diet are by drinking eggnog or nutritional supplements instead of milk, adding sauces, gravies, or extra oils to your meals, making shakes or smoothies with yogurt or ice cream, choosing cream-based soups rather than broth-based because they have a higher calorie content, adding honey to smoothies, teas, yogurts, hot cereals, shakes, or ice cream, using ice cubes made of milk or fruit nectar instead of water to add a different flavor and more calories. Other ways to increase protein and calorie content in foods is by adding cooked eggs pureed as needed to your soups, broths, or cooked vegetables, substituting plain Greek yogurt for sour cream, adding cheeses to your soups, cooked eggs, vegetables, and starches, or adding dried milk powders to purees and smoothies. You can add juice to prepared fruit, cereal, milkshakes, or smoothies, and add nut butters to your shakes or smoothies to increase the calorie and protein content. You can also eat small, frequent meals or snacks to maintain calorie intake throughout the day. If you find that foods are too thick, you can thin them by adding hot milk-based liquids or other liquids like broths, gravies, sauces, or butters. You can also add cold milk-based liquids to things like creams, yogurts, cold soups, pureed fruits, pudding, or custard. So specific examples of things that you would use to thin food items are broth, bouillon, gravy, juice, liquid flavored gelatin, milk, plain yogurt, melted hot butter, or strained pureed soups. If you find yourself needing to thicken foods and liquids, you could use a commercial thickener. For hot food or liquid, you could use baby rice, potato flakes, mashed potatoes, or flaked baby cereal. For cold food or liquid, use unflavored gelatin, pureed fruits, or banana flakes. For pureed soups, use potato flakes, mashed potatoes, thick sauces, or gravies, or baby food meat. When thickening pureed fruits, you can use flaked baby cereal, flavored gelatin, or cooked cream of rice or wheat cereal. When thickening vegetables, you can Use mashed white or sweet potatoes, potato flakes, or sauce. On a pureed diet, all soups should be pureed and strained to ensure that there are no chunks. If a person is on a thickened liquid diet, you may need to thicken the soup. On a mechanical soft diet, you should make sure that chunks are very tender and smaller than a half of an inch. If thickening, follow the level 1 guidelines for thickening. If the person is on a soft food diet, chunks should be very tender and smaller than an inch. So say, for an example, potatoes that have been well cooked and cut into smaller pieces. If you're thickening soup, again, follow the level 1 guidelines for thickening. Bread does not puree well, and it is not allowed on any dysphagia diet without first modifying it, such as gelling it or slurrying it. Bread products include muffins, cakes, cupcakes, scones, biscuits, dinner rolls, and donuts. To gel bread, use 1 cup of juice, broth, water, or syrup, or any combination of them, and 1½ teaspoons of unflavored gelatin powder. Pour 2 to 4 tablespoons of the gelatin mixture over each slice of the bread or bread product. Then cover and chill it for at least 2 hours. Do not let the cover or lid touch the bread while it's setting. To slurry bread products, cover the bread or bread product with a sauce, gravy, or syrup, and mix the 2 items until the bread product begins to dissolve into a slurry or a thinner texture. The foods listed on this slide should be avoided on all dysphagia diets, as it's difficult to get them to a cohesive consistency. If a client, patient, or loved one has dry mouth, while eating you should choose soft, moist foods, or add gravy, sauce, or applesauce to the food item, or do something such as having spoonfuls of warm soup or another liquid between mouthfuls of food. You could try using foods that have been prepared with gelatin, which dissolves into a liquid in your mouth, such as mousse, or carry a bottle of water with you wherever you go. Try carrying a small, clean spray bottle filled with water to moisten food or your mouth, or by chewing or sucking on sugar-free mints or gum. If on a thickened liquid diet, there are multiple types and brands of beverage thickeners on the market. There are also pre-thickened liquids that are also available online, which tend to be a little bit more expensive. They are available at pharmacies, medical equipment stores, and online. You do not need a prescription to purchase any type of thickener. The cost for beverage thickeners is not covered by Medicare. Powdered thickeners tend to be starch or gum-based. Some examples of these would be Thicken Up, Thicket, or even drugstores may carry their own brand. To prepare a thickened liquid with a powdered thickener, follow the instructions on the back of the can. Allow 1 to 5 minutes until the beverage has reached accurate consistency. It can leave a beverage lumpy, so just monitor this while consuming. Starch-based thickeners often cause the beverage to thicken further as the beverage sits and causes carbonated beverages to lose carbonation. Gum-based thickeners are a little bit more costly and can work better with carbonated beverages and will allow drinks to maintain initial consistency. There are also packaged gel thickeners, such as Simply Fix or Gel Mix. You should follow the package instructions for accurate mixing. They tend to be a little bit more costly than powdered thickeners, and they require vigorous shaking to mix the product with the liquid thoroughly. They work well with carbonated beverages, and they maintain consistency over time, even if they have been refrigerated, so you could prepare the beverage in advance. There's no wait time to reach accurate consistency, and it's easier to mix with the drink accurately than with the powdered thickeners. Pre-thickened liquids tend to come in a bottle or a box. Some examples would be Simply Thick or Thicket. You can purchase them online. They are offered for convenience of not having to mix your own beverages to an accurate consistency, and they are the most costly option for thickened liquids. For those on a thickened liquid consistency diet, monitor the consistency of soups. They should be pureed, strained, and thickened to the desired consistency. Pay close attention to desserts that may melt at room temperature. Examples of these desserts would be popsicles, shakes, ice cream, and jello. If you would like to serve ice cream, there is a brand available online which melts to a pudding consistency, which is allowed for those on a thickened liquid diet.